Hello, hello, hello. Hope my mic's attached. It's fine. Hey everyone, welcome to this fun little live stream I'm doing here because we have all of the season 1 Percy Jackson and the Olympians casting, and I thought, why not celebrate the amount of casting we've gotten and all the news by doing a live stream discussing how much I'm excited about it, how much I love this cast, and all that fun stuff with questions, examinations, and just general chit chat, where I'm going to be asking you guys questions as much as I'm going to be answering the questions that I have come up with. So, before we dive in, I've seen that there's already quite a couple of comments in the comment section or whatever, the live chat. So I'm just going to go through these very quickly. Firstly, from PGO Fanatic, a regular. Hello. Hey, Fran, first, how are you? I am very well, thank you. I've been having a good week, so I'm feeling good. And second, after I finish Trials of Apollo, I might read your book. Thank you also. Where do you buy it? So it is available everywhere. I believe the links for stuff is in the description box. So it's Amazon, but if you don't want to support them, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books on your phone, all that sort of stuff. So I think I've got a universal link down below, so you can find wherever it's available for you. But if you don't want to buy it, libraries are also really important, so support your library and get Home to the Wild in your library as well. I feel so sorry for Leah. Yeah, I will be discussing the Leah stuff a little bit here because the amount of hate is disgusting. Unclaimed Demigod did a pretty good video discussing that, as well as Rick himself doing a post calling people out on their disgusting behavior. But yeah, not on. What's wrong with people all because of the character they love is being played by someone of a different race? They got the attacking and hating on a child. I know people are pathetic. I mean, not to start off already in the negativity, but oh, hold on. Yeah, wrong one. Who here was surprised when they cast Lance Reddick? I was only surprised because I've not seen him in anything before, but I quite like the casting. I mean, the suit that we saw him in with the promo pic was perfection, but we'll talk about that when we get to discussing the cast more. Do you think the book descriptions will be overshadowed by the TV counterparts? Not necessarily. Some people, like I know a lot of people with Harry Potter, for example, unfortunately having to bring that up, like some people picture the actors from the movies as the characters, even though, as many people pointed out, they don't look exactly the same, but some people still read it as the book description. So it will definitely depend on what kind of readers you have when it comes to the books in future. I'm probably going to see them as the cast eventually, which will, because I'm that sort of visual kind of reader, but, it's all dependent really on the sort of person who's watching. Hey demigods, hey all demigods. I apologize, by the way, that I am in my dressing gown. It is cold, but I also am really reactive to heat, so I'll probably have to take off at some point. But yes, chilly, but I look cozy. So that is the main thing. Coziness is a priority. What do you think of my fan casting the Sanderson sisters as the Fates? I can see it, honestly. I don't know if they've got Lin-Manuel, so they could probably get the budget for like Bette Midler and all that. But yeah, I'm not opposed. Finally, a live stream at a reasonable time, not in the middle of the night. Yes, thankfully British. So, well, time zone wise, thankfully British, not really thankfully for anything else. But yeah, slightly reasonable time. It's like 8 o'clock my time, but it's usually a little bit better for everyone else, especially on weekends. So, hi everyone, can't believe no hate. I agree. Oh, sorry, I read that really weird. Lance Reddick was in an episode of Young Sheldon and played the character of Signs in Horizon Zero Dawn. I unfortunately have not seen any of those things. I'm very limited in my knowledge. Do you think Christina Ricci could play Cersei in season 2? I definitely think it's a possibility. I would quite like it because I love Christina Ricci ever since Casper. So I would not be opposed, but it would definitely depend on her schedule, I guess, and if she auditions. But I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that. But yeah, everyone, get your questions and stuff like that because I'm going to be answering some of the stuff. But the breakdown of what's going to be happening today. So I've got some questions set up that will be popping up as banners for both me to answer and for you all to answer in the comments. So we'll be getting to that. But first, I want to basically go through a breakdown of all of the casting. Now, I have literally discovered today that there is a Wikipedia page already for the Percy Jackson and the Olympians TV series. I literally just found this out today. And so it's got all the casting up there already. So yeah, I will be going through that in a second. I'm just going to answer some of the other additional questions that have come here. It's many stuff to do with I feel so sorry for Leah. She got so much hate for no legitimate reason. Yes, literally no legitimacy whatsoever. People are just dicks. YouTube's going to really YouTube's not going to do well with this live stream. If people want to like share this with their friends and let people know about it, please do so, because I'm going to be swearing a lot and YouTube does not like that in live streams, so we'll probably suppress it. So share if you can. Now that Poseidon has been cast, could Logan play Triton? I still don't really think they're going to have any of the cast from the movies. I think if anyone from a previous Percy Jackson media is going to be in the show, it's going to be those from the musical, because Rick actually cares about the musical because it was respectful to his work. So I could see Chris McCarroll. Is it McCarroll? What was his name? Hold on. Sorry. I think I've got his name wrong. Chris. Yeah, no, it is McCarroll. I was correct. Wow. Off the top of my head. Chris McCarroll, who played Percy in the musical. I could see him being Triton, but I really don't think anyone from the movies will be cast in it. So Chris can be Triton. Yeah, I do think that. And like they possibly have oh god, I'm blanking on the rest of the actors' names. They're gonna have Kirsten. Who could Kirsten play? So Kirsten plays Annabeth in the musical. Who could Kirsten play? Kirsten could actually be Cersei. I would not be opposed to that. But yeah, so sorry, I'm blanking on like characters, but I think if anyone from a previous adaptation was going to be in it, it'd probably be for the musical. I feel bad for the kids who's going to be cast as Nico, because people are going to put him up to a pedestal, and whoever they choose is either going to be beloved by the fans or hated. Yeah. Sometimes I hate this fandom. But thankfully there are a lot of people who are like big outcriers for the support of these actors, and you know, like myself and the League of Percy Jackson podcasters are like huge defenders of these kids because they're children. Leave children alone. But yeah, there's always going to be people who are haters, but you know, unfortunately that's what we've got to deal with. Slightly off topic, but what's your book about? Does it have anything to do with Greek mythology? So my book, hold on, I can grab a copy. So this is my book here. It is not mythology based, but I do actually have a book about Celtic mythology, not Greek mythology, coming out later this year. But this is my book, Home to the Wild. It is a Tarzan meets Call of the Wild, but sapphic story. It's the first book in a series. And yeah, so just think Tarzan meets Call of the Wild sort of stuff. So it's a young adult adventure. And yeah, a lot of heart and soul in this. So if you guys do want to, links down below. If they make Nico black, they'll have to make him a Holocaust survivor because Italy was racist. When does he go? Hold on. It's an interesting point. Though they don't really discuss it that much, the Holocaust as a whole, which honestly, I've done a video about this. Have I done a video about? I've discussed this in videos. I have a real problem with, you know, the portrayal of that stuff in Percy Jackson because it's awful. It's really badly done. It's a questionable thing that I've always hated with the books and just really don't like, because what was the reason? But anyway, we'll talk about that. I'll be doing a video on that eventually, actually, to go really in detail. Or have I already? I think I've already done one, but maybe I need to go in detail. But yeah, it's just imagine Nico in the show looking like the actor who played Finn Wolfhard, but younger. I guess I could see it. There's a fan cast that's been going around. I can't remember who the kid is though, but I could see it. But anyway, yes. So we're going to get right into the main stuff here. Firstly, let me know. Can all of you read what is on screen right now, or do you need me to be a bit smaller? So just let me know, because this is the Wikipedia page for the TV show. So I'm going to go through the casting list as we go through. So, oh, Amateur, I will answer your question, but after I've gone, actually, I'll answer it now. If any, actually, no, I'll answer it later. But yeah, can you guys read the Wikipedia page currently, or should I'll just make myself smaller anyway, because it's fine. All right, and I've got to go into it myself. So you guys, I may miss some messages for a period of time, but it should be fine. Okay, so we've got all the information here, and whoever's made this page has done a really good job. So we know all the people involved, but let's just go straight away to the cast, because that is the main thing we are discussing here. So of course we have Walker Scobell as Percy Jackson, a young demigod. He really does not have that much description, which I find really funny. Walker Scobell seriously was an incredible casting. Like him in, what was it, the oh bugger, what was the name of the film? I can't remember the name of the film. But he's just been really good. Like, he's a really good actor. He's got the Percy vibes, both in real life and in the film that the Adam Project. He has the Percy vibes. And I think that's something that's like a lot of people agreed with. So, like, honestly, I don't really have much else to say about Walker, except, he seems to be really into the stunt stuff. He's got the vibe of Percy. He knows about the books, which is like awesome. And yeah, nothing else to say. Leah Savage-Jeffries. Leah? Oh my God. I am so excited to see what Leah is going to be like as Annabeth, because, sorry, I just changed my position by accident, because I saw her in her latest movie in Sundays at Tiffany's and saw clips of, is it Beast? Just because I'm not good with like jump scare stuff. But Leah has, oh my God, her emotional intensity in those scenes as a young actor is amazing. And like, Annabeth has so many layers to her character and has so many things that, break her emotionally in multiple different ways, because Annabeth has gone through so many different things in her life that have been heartbreaking. I mean, her family didn't want her. The girl, Talia, who helped save her, dies in front of her. I mean, this girl's been through it. So the emotionally like heavy scenes that Annabeth has are going to be so, so good. And I'm really looking forward to see how that is. She also has, what was it, the snark of Annabeth as well, which obviously is a must. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. But the description here is Leah Savage-Jeffries as Annabeth Chase, the daughter of Athena, who has been training at Camp Half-Blood for 5 years because her dad sucks. Then, of course, we had our next one, which is Aryan Simhadri as Grover Underwood. And honestly, I admit I haven't actually watched much with Aryan in, just because like the few things that I know that he's been in, I've not been able to get access to for cost related reasons for like streaming services. But just from the few things, so I think it was like one of his videos of him singing, because I think he was in a musical. I don't know, I can just picture him, in that scene where they're on their quest and he's just sat playing with his pipes and just playing music, just like helping his friends drift off to sleep. Like, Aaron just seems like the sort of person who's just like a good friend and just like really kind-hearted. Just like, he just seems like that in real life. So I can see him bringing that to the role of Grover. So I'm looking forward to seeing that side of him. And I'm just really excited about the casting, because I'm just like, yeah, especially when we got the picture of the three of them on set in their outfits for the roles. I was like, that is our trio. That's perfect. But yeah, so the role here, it says Aryan Simhadri as Grover Underwood, Percy's best friend and a satyr who is disguised as a 12-year-old boy. I just love that they get more description than Percy. But those are our main three. So they are listed as main characters, which is cool. But then we go into our recurring roles. So these are the ones who probably are appearing in more than one episode, but not in like nearly every episode. So probably, I think recurring is usually when they're in 2 or 3 episodes. I'm going to start first with Virginia Cull as Sally Jackson, Percy's selfless mother. Oh my God, love it. Now, Virginia Cull, unfortunately, basically nearly all of the adult actors, I don't know that much about them, but I am I am really looking forward to seeing her. I've seen a few clips of her. I think someone was sharing them on YouTube when she got cast, and she has that emotional weight behind her. I can't even remember what it was that she was in that I saw a clip of, but I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what she's going to bring to the role of Sally. We've not really heard much about the adult actors, so like I can't really give much on. But I'm looking forward to seeing what she brings, because obviously Sally's role is just as important as the main characters, because like her whole situation is what drives Percy to do what he does. So we've got to love her as much as Percy does. I think we will, because Virginia seems cool. Then we've got Glyn Turman as Chiron / Mr. Brunner, a centaur disguised as Percy's Latin teacher. Now, the one thing that I remember about Glyn is the fact that he actually runs a ranch for kids to basically kind of help them get off the streets and kind of help them get into better education and to support them. And the fact that he's basically Chiron in real life, but better, is amazing, and I actually love it. It's just, that's just immediately just a perfect casting. The moment I read that in his bio that Rick gave on his blog, I was like, oh my God, a literal real life Chiron. Wow. So yeah, that was literally, the moment that I read that, I was like, I am sold on Chiron. And then of course we have, I apologize if I say this last name incorrectly, Jason Mantzoukas as Dionysus / Mr. D, the head of Camp Half-Blood. Oh my God, when I saw this casting, I immediately thought, I think I'm a bit behind. Hopefully it's all right. I immediately thought of that scene of his character Pimento in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, of saying, I don't do kids unless that kid's a dick. No, I don't kill kids unless that kid's a dick. And I think that's brilliant. I love it so much. I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the role of Dionysus, because he has, like, oh God, I love his comedy. So I'm excited to see what kind of comedy levity that he brings. Because like Stanley Tucci in The Sea of Monsters, as much as I hate that movie, was literally the only good thing about that movie. And he gave he had that comical element to Mr. D. But I think that Jason has this next level. Like he is, like when he was Derek in The Good Place, like that's kind of the intensity and like madness basically that I want from Mr. D, but just a little bit more controlled. Or maybe kind of, it's like a mixture of Derek and Pimento is basically what I'm thinking of. But yeah, it's going to be brilliant. And then of course, Megan Mullally as Electo / Miss Dodds, Percy's stern mathematics teacher who serves the god Hades as one of the 3 Furies. Oh my God, when I saw that casting, absolutely brilliant. And of course, it then made me think of Will and Grace and her scene where she talks about how she's got to deal with Satan. And I was like, perfect. I mean, literally true in this case, because she's one of the Furies. It just made me laugh. There are so many scenes with these actors, I'm just kind of like, wow, they literally just set them up to become part of these roles because of these references. It's brilliant. And yeah, obviously there's going to be some prosthetics relating to her because she becomes a monster. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to be. Tim Sharp as Gabe Ugliano, Sally's husband and Percy's stepfather. I feel really bad for Tim Sharp because he's going to be like one of the most hated person. But like if he pulls it off really well, he's going to be like the most hated liked person, and like he did such a good job at making us hate him that we like him as an actor because he's cool, and did a really good job. We're not ever gonna like Gabe because Gabe sucks, but you get what I mean. But yeah, imagine though that you get that role and it's like, oh wow, this is so great that I got this role, and you're just like, oh, well, this is also like the whole point of this character is that they are ugly and horrible. So, like at the same time, it's like, wow, I got a role. Oh, but the role. um, oh, poor Tim. But if he does a great job, I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. And then Dior Goodjohn. Dior, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing as Clarice LaRue, who is the strong-willed daughter of Ares who bullies Percy. Because firstly, Clarice is one of my favorite characters. She deserves a lot more respect on her name. The growth that this girl goes through, legendary. But like Dior has already shown that she's put so much effort into her role as Clarice. Because like she was exercising, she was lifting. Like this is a 15-year-old girl going out of her way to put on muscle mass for a role. I mean, like obviously it's not going to be that much because again, it's a 15-year-old. Like 15-year-olds can't put on that level of muscle in a short period of time because firstly, it's not healthy for anyone, but also they're a child. But the fact that she went to that effort to kind of get more muscular and get more, muscle mass and stuff like that, it's great. And also just Dior is just brilliant in general. Her live streams where she was basically kind of getting in trouble for accidentally spoiling stuff, and she's like, "I would not be the Tom Holland of the series," and I'm like, "Oh, but you already were," and it was brilliant. I love it. And then, I've got to admit, this is the act. Actually, I won't talk about it yet because it's one of the questions. But Charlie Bushnell as Lucas Stellan, a swordsman who is the counselor of the Hermes cabin. Oh, I'm so excited to see what Charlie is like as Luke, because I've seen Charlie in Diary of a Future President, and it's a very different role to what he's going to be playing as Luke. But the idea that the portrayal that we are going to have of like what he did in Diary of, this kind of kind, helpful guy who then turns around to actually be the most manipulative asshole ever. If he like plays that well, Charlie is going to. I'm really excited to see how Charlie's going to play this role. And then, of course, Adam Copeland as Ares, the arrogant and daring god of war. Now, I've not seen Adam, or the Edge as he's also known, because I don't watch wrestling, but I've seen clips of him, and I think he's really cool. But I'm excited to see what he does, because firstly, they got a wrestler. They got someone who looks like they'd be a god of war to play the god of war, because I was not expecting it. And ironically also he's done mythology based stuff before because he was in Vikings playing one of the Vikings, so we know he's got the acting chops in general, but I'm intrigued to see what he's going to bring to the role of Ares. I'm slightly nervous about the scene that's going to come for Sea of Monsters between him and Clarice, or Dior Goodjohn in this case, but we'll get to that when we get to season 2. And then, of course, just for the little guest one, so the guest episodes are usually, they're only going to be in like one episode max. So we have Olivia Morton, who is Nancy Bobafett, a blunt teacher's pet who relishes in tormenting Percy. Nancy's just really nice. And also her and Leah actually seem to be really close friends. I know she won't be in any of the seasons, so it'll be sad they won't be able to kind of. Well, hopefully they'll stay connected, I guess, because like it's cool when people connect and make friends. But I'm excited to see her portray, a bully. I do know that there were the castings for like her 2 underlings. I guess that was what they would be called, but they're not listed here because I don't think they're given names as far as I'm aware. And then we have Susanna Cryer as Echidna, and I have seen Suanna in something. I was looking at, what was it that I saw her in? Because I don't actually remember what it was that I saw her in. I think it may have been The Fosters. I'm not 100%. It was indeed. She plays a lesbian, that's why I know her. Susanna Cryer as Echidna, the menacing mother of monsters. Again, don't really have much to say about it because it's a small role, but if she can get the menacing level, am I really excited? The one for the monster casting that I'm super excited for is Jessica Parker Kennedy as Medusa, a Gorgon who lives in solitude, because I freaking love Jessica Parker Kennedy. I do half wish that she'd got any more, a bigger role, just because she's so amazing. But I love her, so I'm glad she's in it either way. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I really do said that weird. I do hope they kind of get rid of the Islamophobia elements with Medusa. But, there's a lot of things that I do want them to change related to the monster presentation, because there's some fat phobia stuff going on there, some Islamophobia, some racial elements that are written need going. But conversation for later. Then, of course, we had the biggest casting, I think we could say, which was Lin-Manuel Miranda as Hermes, the messenger of the gods. A casting no one was ever expecting, but somehow kind of works too. The headcanon that people are coming up with that Hermes is actually Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he created that role to basically prove to Apollo that anyone could be a singer. As like a joke, and I do love that. But yeah, it was a surprising casting, but we'll see how it goes. I know there's some controversies with Lin-Manuel, which kind of sucks, so that's the situation for the show. And he is in it for a little while, for quite a few seasons, but that's just unfortunately how Hollywood be sometimes. Then we have Jay Duplass as Hades. I don't remember if I've seen Jay Duplass in anything. I don't think I have, but I quite like his look, because a lot of the sort of stuff that people were, and admittedly I was one of those people as well, was going for this sort of like angsty looking people to be Hades, which makes sense because like death sort of stuff. But Hades is actually one of the nicer of the gods that we ever meet. He's just given a bad image because he's a god of death. Like, that's literally the only reason why he's portrayed badly. So I quite like the idea of someone who doesn't look like the typical idea of what people would think of a death god to be portrayed as one. Like, to portray one, I mean. I don't know, it's a twist on the usual idea. But obviously he's still got to look foreboding. So I'm intrigued to see how they're going to make him look as Hades and how he's going to portray the role. Then, of course, we then had Timothy Amundsen as Hephaestus, the god of blacksmiths. Now, I was really confused when this role was announced, because Hephaestus is not in this book. He's not really, like, it was the same with Hermes, admittedly, but Hermes actually made sense because of the connection to Luke. But Hephaestus, it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to come in for this, what Timothy is going to do. What the scene, I'm assuming the scene's going to be related to, the love ride, where they go into, I can't even remember the name of the theme park for Ares. I'm assuming he's going to appear there, or maybe he'll be on Mount Olympus. But I'm intrigued to see how he's going to portray him, because obviously Hephaestus is the sort of mad scientist type thing. So, just, what was it, the image that that's not the right one, the one that we got for the announcement gave the mad scientist vibe. So I like the vibe for Timothy for Hephaestus. And then, of course, our last and most recent casting, Lance Reddick as Zeus, the ferocious god of the sky whose thunderbolt has been stolen, who I am really excited to see, because I listened to a few videos to do with his voice, and he has the perfect voice for Zeus. Like, the intensity of his voice. I mean, you'd be afraid. Like, you'd hear it and be like, oh God, this god could kill me. And it's like the subtle kind of, like, the sort of, I'm trying to think of a comparison. Like, the sort of character that they're not threatening you in words, they're threatening you with the tone of their voice. Like, they mean business. And that's the vibe that I've always gotten from Zeus. Like, he is sometimes very confrontational because he's an idiot, but like, that sort of foreboding presence is what I feel Zeus has. And like, Lance Reddick's voice, and like the suit that we saw him in for the promotional shot, it gives the Zeus vibe. So I'm really excited and intrigued to see what he's going to do for the role of Zeus. And then we had Toby Stephens, who I know from Black Sails, same with Jessica Parker Kennedy, because they were both in Black Sails together, and they actually were my two favorite characters from that show, so I'm really excited. As Poseidon, Percy's absentee father and god of the sea, who is stubborn and impulsive. I am so excited to see the interaction between Percy and his dad, because like that's something that's like super important, because Poseidon sucks in this first book and hurts Percy with the way in which he talks to him, talks about him, all this sort of stuff. So I'm intrigued to see how Toby Stephens is going to present this, how they're going to look together, how their scenes are going to work together, and then where it goes from there on. It seems like there may possibly be an extended sequence for the Poseidon and Percy thing, or Poseidon himself, because like he delivers an iconic line, and I can't actually think of what the iconic line from the book is, but like I'm just intrigued to see if there's going to be an expansion of that scene in general, just to kind of give them more things to do. But yeah, this is all the casting, and honestly, I'm really, really loving it. I've got no complaints whatsoever. I think, honestly, kind of the only minor complaint would be for Lin-Manuel Miranda, just because I was kind of confused by the casting. But at the end of the day, I don't really have that much of an issue with it. I still just kind of, I really like Nathan Fillion as Hermes for Sea of Monsters. But I get why he's not in this, because it's a connection to the original movies. But I can't remember who I cast when I did my fan cast. But yeah, honestly, Lin-Manuel is kind of the only one I'm kind of like, on. But the rest of them, absolute perfection. And I'm really excited for all of this. And like the only things that it mentions on this Wikipedia is just like all the info about the writing, who's involved with the room, all this sort of stuff. And I'm going to have to look through that later, because there's lots of cool information. But yeah, that is basically going through all the cast and discussing that as a whole, because I had a lot of thoughts. I'm just going to go through everyone's comments here, because I've, like, you were all commentating as I was going through. Okay. I will just say, Jake, I would mention just kind of not talk about people's appearance, just because it's kind of not the nicest thing in the world, especially saying how people need to put on weight and stuff like that. That's not really cool. So just kind of think more about that. It's literally just just an awareness, because talking about people putting on weight isn't the nicest thing in the world. Hephaestus wasn't the lightning thief physically, but he was mentioned. Yeah, no, he was mentioned. So I can kind of get where they're going with that. I'm just intrigued as to what the scene is going to be. Lynn really does naturally have an innocent, cheeky smile, and he gives me UPS driver vibes for some reason. Interesting. Like I said, I can kind of get his casting, but I just wouldn't necessarily have gone for him. But like, I'm not fully opposed, minus the not great things about him. But yeah. Why is it, like, who from the cast, actually, to go into the questions? Not that one. I also don't want it as a ticker. Why? Aha, there we go. I can take that off. Okay, here we go. What casting excited you the most? This is a question I do actually want to know. Who from the cast, when you heard the news and saw them, you were kind of like, yes, this is perfect. I'm really happy about this casting, because for me, I would say it's actually Charlie Bushnell as Luke, because hold on, I think Hermes might pick up the package that Percy sent to the gods instead of just teleport to Olympus. Interesting. I actually thought it'd be more of like a flashback, like where Luke talks about what happens with his dad. We get like a flashback. I'm so used to Andre de Shields as Hermes from both Hades Town and Live on Mount Olympus podcast. He's way too old for the role in PGO, but I can't unhear his voice as Hermes. So what casting excited you the most? Yeah, for me it was Charlie Bushnell, just because I mean I do know him from previous stuff, but immediately I was kind of like, this is the sort of character and person, like when you'll look at him, you won't really kind of expect him to, and this is the whole thing. The perception of Luke as a character is that he is a late teens, going into his early 20s, attractive boy who has the charisma, who has the skill, who has, the knowledge of everything that's gone on in his life. And just seeing when it was announced that he was in it, and I was like, oh my God, I know him from Diary of a Future President. I was almost slightly taken aback, but then I thought about the fact that Luke's whole thing is perception. Like, no one expects him to be the bad guy because he doesn't look like the typical bad guy beyond his scar. But then obviously we get his whole story about how the scar came to be, and he becomes almost more sympathetic. And I don't know, I feel like Charlie Benson, but the moment Charlie Benson, where did I get that from? Blimey, Charlie. Oh, ironic. Oh God, Charlie Bushnell. Sorry about that. I was just immediately kind of like, I can see this guy pulling off this super charismatic role. The vibes, and just like, lots of people making jokes about this. It was like, oh my God, he's so pretty. I get why Annabeth believed in him. But like at the same time, Luke kind of has to be someone who looks charismatic, who is conventionally what we class as attractive, and someone who looks like the sort of person who could lead an army and persuade them to do it. And the whole thing is, if he has that charisma, if he has that gravitas about him, it would make sense. I think Charlie Bushnell has that ability to do it. So when I saw that casting, I was like, I see what they've done there, because people will be like, I understand why people joined him. Not necessarily just for his looks, but also the videos that we've seen of him, the way in which he's done his previous roles. I don't know, he does have the charisma. I'm talking a lot now. But yeah, anyone else? What was the casting that you were most excited for? Has anyone said it yet? Oh, people are just talking about the scenes. Okay, there we go. Timothy Amundsen as Hephaestus was a welcome surprise. He's got stellar dramatic and comedic chops. I honestly wish he had a bigger role. Yeah, he will have one when it comes to the Battle of the Labyrinth, because he has that entire scene dedicated to like how Hera sucks, and the reasons why he gets on with machines better. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with that. Stephen. Who was Stephen? Oh, Toby Stevens. Oh my God, I got so confused there. We're going by last name. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how Toby Stevens is going to do, just because him as Captain Flint, oh my God, amazing. And then we've just got other people talking about scenes. Looking forward to seeing how they make Argus look. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how that's going to go. Okay, because people are talking about scenes, what scene are we most looking forward to being acted? I know some people were talking about the Ares versus Percy fight. Now, I'm definitely intrigued to see how that's going to go, but I'm kind of almost more intrigued to see almost like the scene in the restaurant between Percy, Alice Grover, and Ares, because I want to see how well Walker can pull off the rage of Percy. Because that was something, guys, I'm gonna say it now. Do not talk about Leah. I will kick people if I have to, because I'm getting fed up about some of the comments going on here, because it's not on. I don't care how you guys are feeling about it at this point. I'm going to start kicking people, because some of the comments here are actually pissing me off a little bit. Leah's casting is perfect. She is perfect for the role. She's perfect for the character Rick wrote, and Rick chose her. If I have to repeat myself, I'm going to be really pissed off. the Oracle scene. Thank you. The Oracle scene is going to be really cool to see, because what was it? He sneaks up. No, he's sent up there, isn't he? No, yeah, he's sent up there. That's going to be terrifying to see. I'm excited for the Montauk Beach scene. Oh, that'll be really nice, and also devastating at the same time because of what it leads to with the Grover stuff and what happens after. But the sweet moment between Percy and Sally and having that time to be together, I think will be really nice. The Krusty scene. Oh, controversial. I want that scene gone. I don't want Krusties in the show because it's it's not necessary. I know it's a really fun scene, but it's not necessary. I feel bad. It's a fun scene, but it wasn't. It doesn't need to be there. Especially considering they've only got 8 episodes and 40 minutes of 8 episodes to do it all in. I think that's probably the most likely scene to be cut. I want to see Mr. D threaten to turn Percy into a dolphin. Yes. I want to see how that is delivered by Jason. Because that'll be a perfect delivery if he does it with like the level of threateningness. Unsubscribed. Valid. I'm sorry. I think that the waterbed shop will definitely go. Yeah, honestly, that's a whole thing. I'm excited for the Lotus Casino. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that scene goes and just like the drama of it all. Honestly, I saw the musical and didn't realize they skipped it because I forgot about the Krusty's scene. Because they did the Lotus Casino, and I've not seen the play, the musical, unfortunately, because it's not in the UK. But yeah. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see. I'm excited for the Lotus Casino scene. There's lots of stuff that I'm really excited for. But yeah, I'm excited for the blue food as well, because that's such a staple. I mean, we saw them do blue cupcakes for Percy's birthday when they were on set. And I mean, actually, Percy, not Walker, for Percy's birthday in August on set, which was very cool. Not every monster encounter is necessary for the plot. The Krusty scene certainly wasn't as important as saying Medusa. Yeah, I know. I completely get what you mean with the mythos. I think it's more just like in terms of runtime, things that aren't the most necessary usually are the ones that have to be cut because they don't have the runtime for it. I would rather they expand on things like Percy and Luke's development. So the actual, the line of betrayed by a friend actually makes sense because he's made friends with the Luke sort of thing. I think they could cut Krusty's scene to, actually boost the relationship between the characters more and actually use that time for something more valuable, if you get what I mean. What is one thing you want to be added or expanded on in more detail? I was kind of just talking about that accidentally. It's the expansion on the characters, because I really want to see more of the relationship dynamic between Annabeth and Percy specifically, because we're going to have the Percy and Grover stuff in the first couple of episodes with Yancey Academy, but also Percy and Luke, because we need to feel the weight of Luke's betrayal at the end of the season. And if they're not close, it's not going to work. So I think they kind of need to do that a lot. I agree, Luke Percy relationship development though. This is because they mentioned it's one of Becky's favorite scenes, so it's for sure happening. Yeah, it probably will. Just because, kids show, got to have the comedy stuff. I would rather they cut it so they could add more development stuff, but I get it. Yeah, Medusa is really important for like the Gabe stuff, and there's stuff to do with the gods of like, hey, screw you guys. I'm excited. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. Okay, what? Okay, who are we most excited to see in their role? I know it's similar to what casting excited you the most, but slightly different in the sense of like, who do you think is going to like pull off the role the most? Because for me, it's going to be Leah. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier when I was talking about it for the Wikipedia breakdown of the cast. Leah really does have a lot of emotional weight behind her acting. And I think the moment specifically for her relationship with Luke, her relationship with her dad, and just basically her relationship with a lot of different people. There's going to be so much more intensity, I feel, she's going to bring to the role that will really work for the development of Annabeth's character. That will kind of basically show the level of intensity that Annabeth has. Because, like, a lot of people, unfortunately, do brush off a lot of the stuff that happened to Annabeth. A lot of people don't really realize, you know, the horrific situation she went with in her home life. And I think Leah, based on the things I've seen her in, like Sundays at Tiffany and Beast, and even in Empire when she was like 5, she has the ability to really show the emotional weight in her acting, even without not necessarily kind of like showing it with tears. Just the way in which it's like, oh god, it's the crying not crying stuff. Of like you kind of you get the emotional intensity in just her eyes. Like, that's a really impressive thing to do, especially for a young actor. And she does that in some of her roles. And I think she could bring that a lot to Annabeth's thing of just like literally basically seeing the actual pain in her eyes, even if she's not expressing it verbally. And I think that'd be really, really interesting to see how that goes. Prove them wrong. I mean, she's proved them wrong well enough in general, because they're all assholes. I can't believe I didn't mention being excited for the truck and Oreo scene for this exact reason. Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. That scene, I really want them to expand on that scene so much, because there's so much that can be done there to really show the depth of their relationship. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to go. Oh, I'm excited about the Chimera fight at the St. Louis Arch. Oh, yeah. That's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. Because oh, that's going to be fun. Scott says Walker is who they are excited to see. What element about Walker is it that you're excited to see? I can't wait to see Percabeth in this. Yeah, I think, and also we got that in the promo clip to do with the Zeus and Poseidon casting. Walker as Percy is wearing Annabeth's necklace, because obviously before the fight with Ares, she gives him her necklace for good luck. Amazing. I'm really excited to see how they're all going to do in their roles. But like Leah is especially one that's really piqued my interest. Obviously we've got like basically all the main kids in general. I think Dior, actually, Leah and Dior, I think are the ones that are going to intrigue me the most, as well as Charlie. Dior, because like the redemption that she's going to go on through the series is going to be really interesting to see how she pulls that off. And there's going to be hints towards it in this book, in this season. I mean, probably not, because it's quite early, but I'm intrigued to see how that's going to go. And then of course Charlie in general as Percy, I'm really excited to see how well he pulls off the charismatic bad guy, basically, who you don't realize is a bad guy until he tells you at the very end. I'm really excited to see how that goes in season 3. I like that, but just like, yes, that's happening. I'm looking forward to the sibling relationship between Bianca and Nico. Valid. I wonder what the visual effects will look like for the monsters and magical items. That is a really good question. I am assuming it's going to be looking pretty good, because they've got the volume for their filming, like the thing that they basically created for the Mandalorian to basically make things look vast. So I think the special effects are going to look amazing, but I do also really hope that they're using practical effects, which, considering they've got, what was it, Oscar award-winning set director for the Lord of the Rings part of the show. I have a feeling they're going to use, is it set director or clothing design? I can't remember now. Hold on. Does it have it? Is it written down? Where did it say? Oh, it is somewhere. Oh, sorry, I did not mean to click into that. I can't remember who he is now, but you guys know who I mean, the Lord of the Rings guy. But so I'm assuming there are probably going to be some practical effects as well, which I really do hope so, because practical effects are honestly some of the best. Knowing what we're going, where we're going with the characters, I'm excited for Perciveth's friendship because we've been focused on Perciveth's romantic relationship for years. Yes, going back to the roots of the development of their friendship, of the development of, all that fun stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see any differences they may do in the show of like the more slow burn or anything like that. So I'm intrigued to see how it's going to go. A tie between Charlie Bushnell and Glyn Turman for who they're most excited for. Valid. I'm intrigued. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Basically, all the cast. I'm interested to see how they're going to go. But it's definitely the younger actors I'm definitely more interested in, which makes sense because like there's a priority. But yeah, basically all of them. To be honest, I want to see more camp stuff. Percy said time again that he loves camp, but we've seen so little camp outside of the quests and lead up to the quest. Yeah, I do hope they do actually have some extended camp scenes, so fingers crossed. I'm just going to take this down. But yes, again, refraining from any hateful stuff here. How do we feel about the casting of season 1? Because honestly, I am really, really happy with all of this casting. I literally don't have any complaints except maybe beyond Lin-Manuel wouldn't have been my first choice. But everyone else, from the small things that I've seen of them, the way in which they Rick introduced them and did like their little bio thing, I can see why they've been cast, and I'm really excited to see how they're actually going to portray the role. Oh, hold on. If we get a season 4, imagine what Mrs. O'Leary is going to look like, and if we get a scene of her and Percy's flat, that would be awesome. I think the cast looks amazing from Hello, from AW. Love the casting. Yes, yeah. Honestly, for all the hate that's unfortunately been thrown towards the casting of people calling Rick woke, which like absolutely bloody hilarious, by the way. I'm sorry, have you never read Rick Riordan's work? I mean, talk about the definition of woke and not the right-wing version of woke. Just people, morons. Awesome, can't wait for the casting. I don't think we're doing it this season, but we need to establish Selena and Beckendorf because at first it didn't feel enough about them to care about. Yes, I second this motion. I think we meet Charles and Selena in Sea of Monsters, so fingers crossed. From Amateur, I love how Rick didn't care about appearances. I'm glad we finally have someone who doesn't care what they look like. Yes, admittedly, there is a degree of problems that can come with colorblind casting here and there, but from like how it's gone so far and the fact that Rick firstly actually responded to the disgusting hate that was thrown at Leah by calling people out and saying, hey, basically saying, hey, don't be a dick, leave it alone. Mad respect to him for that. From AW, I'm tired of this go woke, go broke nonsense. Yes, because it's absolute nonsense. Right-wing people are just idiots. Because it's not going woke. People of color exist. Just because they weren't presented in your mind's eye as a person of color in the books doesn't mean it doesn't work. Grow up. It's a kids series, and the author themselves has said this is his cast. These are his characters. Grow up. At this point, it's been what, over a year since the cast has been announced, at least for the main lot, and people are still mad. Get fucked. I don't take any of that nonsense on this channel. The few comments that were from before, I didn't kick you guys out in the end because you did, chill. Yeah, Jake, chill yourself out, mate. Rick is woke, Alex Ferrero just laughed. Literally, Rick's books are all diverse. Like, his diversity wasn't always the strongest. Heroes Olympus is a perfect example of that. But he does what he can. He learns from his mistakes and he gets better. It takes some time, which unfortunately, is a situation. But people learn. Anyone who says that this show is woke, it's not a Rick Rowe, doesn't know the books, like, at all. people think any POC casting is making a statement. No, they were just the best person for the role. Why can't people understand that? Racism. Diversity can't be forced. That's not how it works. I'm not going to get into it. What was it? Borka found he was Percy 1 year ago from yesterday. Yes, that was it. Yeah, I saw that tweet. That was brilliant. But yeah, I'm excited for this cast. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the show. I can't say it's a guarantee, but like Rick himself is basically saying from how good it is, he wouldn't be surprised if season 2 is greenlit, and I completely agree. Like with how popular the books are, with how excited people are, minus the racist morons, for the series, I don't doubt we'll get a season 2. Maybe even do what happens with Heartstopper, where they got like season 2 and 3 immediately greenlit. Admittedly, in their cases, because like they only have 2 seasons left because of the books. But you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the moment that it is announced that basically the moment it goes live and people respond to it, that will then get immediate green lighting of the other seasons. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened. That's basically what I'm saying here. But yeah, hold on. So I think my thing's delayed slightly, everyone. My bad. I think season 2 will be greenlit either after the first episode premieres or after the season airs. I feel like it would be like after the season airs. And also from the sounds, but I think it was posted on Twitter recently that they're going to be weekly episodes instead of all of them dropping at once, which I quite like that because they're probably kind of going to go for the trending topic situation, which also works for this channel because that means I can do an episode a week. If I ever hear anybody talking about Leah, I will unleash my bad side. Oh, don't worry, mate. Got that in spades. Or I blocked so many people because of that stuff. It was not on it. Awesome that he did that. Don't like it too. Please stop the hate. Exactly. Physical appearance should not matter in an adaptation unless it's extremely important. Literally. People can... Not to continue with this conversation, people be like, oh, what if Hazel wasn't black anymore? I'm like, well, then you've lost Hazel's entire character because her whole thing is being someone who experienced racial discrimination for being a young black girl in segregated John Crow era America in New Orleans. Same with Frank. His entire backstory is tied to the fact that he is Chinese Canadian with ancestry connected to the Greeks, with the connection for China, and then also the racial discrimination his ancestors faced. Educate yourselves at least to a degree. Like, at least try. At least try if you want to be a racist. Try. Well, obviously not. Just don't be a racist, but you know what I mean. Like, at least try to think of something that makes sense. Does anyone know if the episodes are coming out? Oh, I've just... Sorry, I realized I must be behind. I'm sorry about that, not AEW, Amateur. The episodes are going to be coming out every week. So it's not all at once. It's going to be... I don't know what days, but like, say, for example, it's going to come out on a Wednesday, and then it'll be the next Wednesday, etc., etc. Oh, love your videos from Scott. Thank you. I felt Percy's hair and eyes were important because of Poseidon. No, they don't have DNA. His eyes are from his mum. Like, there was no... And his hair was from his mum. The gods don't have DNA. I miss having a week of theorizing before the next episode with streaming. We don't have that much anymore. Thankfully, we are going to have that with this season, with this show, because it sounds like it's going to be weekly releases. So when the show does air, expect weekly breakdown videos from me on all of that. Imagine why... Oh God, the horror. No, I couldn't even say it. I was like, I was disgusted. But yeah, I don't think I actually have anything further to say about this. So if you guys have like any final thoughts to do with casting or how you're feeling about it, or just general questions that you have for me in relation to the cast as a whole, what you're excited for, and just, yeah, I will happily keep chatting. I know I've been here for an hour and you're probably all sick of me, but still, I'm happy to keep talking if needs be. I find it, from amateur, I find it amusing but ridiculous that after such a terrible adaptation of Percy Jackson, in which they didn't even keep characters in people's they didn't even keep characters, people still feel like complaining about such tiny details like hair and eyes. Yeah, like, I can get it to a degree because it's something you've hyperfixated on. But also, the author is involved. He's chosen the cast. It has no effect on the actual character. And we're actually getting the story. The only difference is their appearance. And if their appearance wasn't important in the first place, and before anyone tries to bring up, which I doubt because my audience is brilliant, Annabeth's blonde hair is not significant to her character. The only time it's mentioned as being significant is twice in Mark of Athena. Once by Leo, and once by Leo, once by her, and that's it. We wanted it to be super perfect. Appearance has nothing to do with perfection. I don't hate to say it, but the movie is the first. This is the whole thing. I will always say the first movie, I will say, isn't as garbage as the second one. There is something that can be salvaged from it. It's still not perfect, and it's definitely not the best movie in general, adaptation aside, but it's better than the garbage that was Sea of Monsters. Perfection is always too much to ask. Nothing will ever stand up if it's not like the books, because no adaptation is ever exactly like the books. There'll always be something you're disappointed with. Even if the entire cast looked exactly like the characters in the books, someone would moan about something. Perfection doesn't exist. There's literally no such thing as perfection. There's no such thing as a perfect adaptation. Some people turned to Daria wasn't even blonde in the first movie from a joke about the general problems of the movie into a real criticism for some reason. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah. Definitely it was a joke. Like, it was like, that was definitely not even the main problem. She didn't even have to be blonde. Of course, they then thought, oh, that was a thing that people didn't like, we'll make her blonde in the second one. But yeah, her not being blonde wasn't a problem. It just added to it. I try. Awesome family here, says Scott. I'm biased, but Charlie is Luke. Yeah, Charlie is Luke is just really cool. I'm really excited for his casting. I'm really excited for the series, and honestly, on perfection, it's not like the books without flaw. Yes, the books have some serious flaws. I'll talk about them here now. I'm going to have to use like some buzzwords, some changes of words. The Yahtzee stuff, disgusting. Like, completely unnecessary. It's not needed. It brings in some really dodgy implications. There is a way to literally have, the pact of the big three without having to tie it to Yahtzees. Same with the thing with Heroes of Olympus and, the Hereditors. I couldn't think of a version for that. I heard no one complaining about Tanya Radcliffe not having black hair and green eyes. I mean, there were definitely some people who complained, but like, after a while, people got, because he was good. And also the use of a slur in Sea of Monsters. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of problematic stuff. Like the fat shaming element, like basically all of the villains are either people who are classed as fat, ugly, coded as people of color, and it's just, there's a lot of problematic. I mean, the whole Medusa thing, being in a burqa and being a villain. Cyclopses having dreadlocks and being described as having dreadlocks. Like, there's a lot of problematic stuff, which I really do hope is fixed and changed in this series. And considering the diversity within the writers' room and the fact that Rick has learned a lot since then, I'm hoping that will be the case. Can we have a Percy Jackson video game? We'll probably get one eventually with the show. We'll probably get one in relation to the show. It wouldn't surprise me if we get that eventually. But Yeah, eventually, like, this is the whole thing. Lots of stuff will come out from this show, and like, it's going to boost some amazing kids' careers. It's going to get us a lot more stuff. Like, we're going to probably get official merch at some point, which will be really cool. Although probably not great for my merch store. Which, by the way, if you guys do want to support me, check out my merch store as well. Buy my book or merch. There's lots of Percy Jackson related stuff there. Possibly even get theme parks at Disney World and Disneyland. Not that I can go because there are none here, and they probably won't put one in Paris. Nothing to do with the TV show whatsoever. I'm currently reading Mark of Athena. Oh yeah. I'm reading that for my podcast as well. This is a good question. What is one piece of merch you want? I want the camp beads. A lot of people say the shirt's like an official Camp Half-Blood shirt, but first thing, no, because I actually like the fact that like a lot of fan creators who've made versions of the shirts get money for that. But official camp necklaces would be perfection. I would love that so much. I'll just do with the Mark of Athena. It wasn't for Annabeth's plot armor. I would be terrified she would die. Yeah. I would play the hell out of a Percy Jackson tabletop RPG. Maybe I'll just write it myself. Oh, Frederick, me. You missed a video here on my channel. It's a little short. I'm working on a Percy Jackson tabletop RPG. And we're doing some live streams here on this channel and my writer's channel, which is connected to this one. Making a Percy Jackson inspired tabletop RPG. So hang about because I'm going to be doing that. I never said of course Percy's Adventures are going to be adapted. Like, that's what they do. It'd be like, again, unfortunately to mention it, the Harry Potter video games, like where they do it by year. They follow the story, so it'll be his adventures. Any other questions? Oh, for real, from Frederick. Yeah. I did like a little short video just discussing it because I was kind of like, because I've written RPGs before. I'm published in an anthology for Call of Cthulhu specifically, which is a horror game. But like, I have experience doing stuff like that. So I thought, I love the world of Percy Jackson. There's a lot of stuff to do there. Also, I've gotten the Avatar tabletop RPG. And so I'm going to make one. And then I'm going to share it with people on here so people can play it with their friends and stuff. Overall, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm really excited too. There's a lot to be excited about for this. And negativity aside, because like I try to ignore the negativity unless it's literally right in front of my face, and then I engage because I have no self-control beyond literally going off at people. I'm really excited to see how the show goes, and I really do hope we get all 5 seasons. And then of course we've got the King Chronicles Netflix adaptation, which films take so much longer than shows, so we're not probably going to get news for a while, but we'll see. Who's your favorite Percy Jackson character? Clarice and or Talia. I always go between the two of them because they're both badass. But yeah, it's Clarice or Talia are usually my go-tos. When Disney has an excuse to sell to sell pens for $10. Literally ballpoint pens. Oh my god. Although they'll probably actually make Riptide. Imagine if they actually have a Riptide. You know, like there's Star Wars lightsabers where you press a button and it pops out. They just make like a... Oh god, there's that guy here on YouTube. Bugger, what's his name? He makes a bunch of like stuff from fandom related stuff where he like made Percy's like the pen. He made Riptide. But I can't remember his channel name. But like, imagine they made something like that. Your favorite character is Luke. Valid. He's an interesting character. I will not deny he is a really interesting character. Another thing, we have to wait for Camp Half-Blood to open at Animal or Magic Kingdom. Oh my god, that'd be so cool. I don't know if this question has been asked. Who would you have as your godly parent, either Roman or Greek? Oh, thank you, Medic Couch Potato. So, based on my podcast, I usually say that I'm a hunter of Artemis, but I'm a child of Athena who joined the hunters. Annabeth is definitely my favorite, with Tanya as a close second. I like the diverse cast in the Percy Jackson show, but I laugh out loud when it gets underneath people's skin. Yeah. I mean, it's just the fact people get so worked up over it just says a lot, doesn't it? At first I was worried, but over time I got accustomed to it. Oh, the cast, right? Gotcha. I can get it. Like, the only thought that I ever had when I saw the casting was I'm really worried for these kids, but I was like that even before the cast was announced. I was worried for the kids, especially for like the BIPOC kids, because I knew for a fact that no matter what happened, no matter what role they got, they were gonna get hate. And like, I know what this fandom's like. I mean, I've gotten death threats from this fandom before, so I know exactly what the people in this fandom are like. But I'm glad that, unlike in the case of like what we found out to do with the actress who played Cho Chang, who received racist abuse, she was not protected by the team there. But from the clear looks of it, Leah and the other cast members, and just all of them in general, seem to be pretty well protected. Because the fact that Rick came out not even a week after the announcement to basically call people out on their shit says a lot about the integrity of them all. My favourite is Nico. Can we talk about having a track record of all POC live action Grovers? Wait, 4 for 4. What are the other two? I know the musical and the movies had a POC Grover. Or do you just mean, oh, so you mean the two movies and then the two versions of the musical? I got you. And also, actually, not including the movies, but the musical and the show also have POC Lukes. Think about that. I'm definitely going to get hate for this, but I feel like Nico is overrated. I don't dislike Nico. I just think his character was not utilized in the best way. I've done videos on this, so you guys can check that out. But I think I'm going to wrap this up, actually. So any final questions, send them in, but I'm going to wrap this up in about 3 minutes, probably. So we're exactly on 1 minute 15. He was recast in the musical after George Salazar went to work on another show. Yeah, I thought that may have been the case. I can't help it. Oh, you haven't finished Heroes of Olympus. Valid. It just does. Heroes of Olympus is hard to get through. But yeah, overall, keep this space healthy and kind. Do note those who don't are being blocked and removed. I've already blocked a bunch of people. I have no problem using that button now. So keep it clean, keep it chill, keep it respectful. And will this be up normally? Yeah. So this video probably will end up being public on my channel tomorrow. It's like obviously public right now, but it takes a second. Well, it takes hours, unfortunately, for it actually to appear on my main profile. But it will be here by tomorrow. So if you've not been able to catch the whole thing, you'll be able to see it from the get-go. Or if you stay on this and I end it soon, you can then rewind all the way back if you want to. I made the mistake of listening to the Percy Jackson musical soundtrack. It hasn't gotten out of my head. I need that soundtrack to be referenced in the show so bad because it's so good, especially the campfire song. That's perfection. Yes, where was I? Keep it clean, keep it chill, keep it respectful. We're all going to have a good time here. Respect the cast. Even if you're not happy with the cast, respect the cast and keep your comments, to yourselves if they're not exactly positive, and if they're talking about people's appearances, they're gonna go. And yeah, this has been a good time. I'm really glad that I did this. I know there was some negativity that popped up, and I apologize. Well, no, I'm not going to apologize for going harm on that because I don't tolerate this here at all. And yeah, I don't actually have anything else to say. This has been a blast, everyone. I'm so glad that you all tuned in. It's been a lot of fun. As always, if you want to support me, check out my Patreon down below for early access to all videos, including podcast content, behind the scenes stuff for my books, all that fun stuff. Subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, check out my book, Home to the Wild. I do have a mythology series coming out this year too, details to come. And yeah, have a good night, everyone. And I will see you all next time.